Hello. So the other day I was searching through YouTube for various cinematography and filmmaking videos, as one does, and I found that there was one subject in particular that I really couldn't find a whole lot of information on. Now, there are some forum posts and some written discussion on it, but in video form, I really couldn't find a whole lot on it. Now, it's a really powerful technique that can add a lot of visual interest and depth to the overall world that you're trying to create, and something that I think a lot more people should really consider using. The lighting gag. So with that, let's go ahead and jump in. Now, I'm currently working my way through Ingmar Bergman's film catalog, and the other day I ran across the film Summer with Monica. So, aside from having just beautiful visuals throughout the whole film, I found that there was one shot in particular and one lighting gag that really stuck with me. In this shot, there's a dolly in on Monica. At the same time, there is a lighting gag going on where basically the background, all of the lights are killed while the lighting stays consistent on Monica. And it is kind of to show her isolation and a pretty big character change at that moment. And aside from it being highly significant to the plot of the film, it's just overall an absolutely stunning shot. Now that we've kind of gone over an example, let's get a little bit more specific as to what lighting gags actually are. But before we do, if you have time and enjoy the video, a like is, as always, very much appreciated. If you want to see more like it, a subscription is also very much appreciated. But if not, that dislike button works extra well if you hit it twice. So you might be wondering what a lighting gag actually is. Well, a lighting gag is basically when you have a lighting change on screen. It can be a light moving or a light flickering that is created by a source that is something other than what would naturally be creating it. So for example, you could have a TV flickering on a character's face. Another example could be headlights in a window or headlights crossing across some curtains from outside. Again, this is almost never created by a car. It's almost always created by a swinging fixture with two lights. Both of these examples are important. However, as seen in the Bergman example, the lighting gag doesn't always need to be motivated by completely realistic means. So basically, they don't always need to be motivated by a car going by or a light flickering or a TV flicker. They can represent a character's subjective experience. Pointing to the Bergman example, obviously the lights didn't actually go down in the cafe that Monica was sitting in, and a spotlight didn't appear on Monica. This is more just a subjective experience shared between the audience and perhaps Monica. Now to kind of jump into the practical, I'm going to break down the last lighting gag I used and why we put it there. Before I go into the full breakdown, if you're interested in seeing the cast or crew from this film, it is in the IMDb link down below, so go ahead and check it out if you're curious to see who was on it. So for this film, we wanted to show the subjective perspective from the main character, Chris, and kind of show that his life has permanently changed and will never be the same again. Now, we ended up doing this through a color transition, but we didn't actually use something like a bicolor light. What we did is actually used two LED lights and basically just used gels over each one. Now, so we didn't have to do some kind of weird transition between lights. We ended up using the fill with a blue gel, and then we did a key with the tungsten gel. Now, by separating these two colors, we actually got a really nice effect where we were able to separate the character a little bit, as well as give a different feeling to the environment as the lights changed. So basically all we did is dim down the tungsten fixture as we brought up the blue fixture, and this kind of gave the room an overall blue feeling to show the subjective perspective, and Chris, the character, just kind of being destroyed, realizing what decision he had made. Now, Summer with Monica came out in 1953, which means we've come a long way in filmmaking grammar. However, lighting gags in general haven't developed all that much. So I think it's time for us as filmmakers to start considering lighting gags, and more specifically, subjective lighting gags, that kind of signify either an emotion or a significant plot point, and try to bring them into more projects. Now, obviously it has to fit with the project, but I think it's a really powerful tool. So with that, what are your favorite lighting gags from film or television? Or have you yourself actually done lighting gags? I would actually love to see some examples of people doing lighting gags, so if you have any examples or, even other creators that have done lighting gags, I'd love to see them, so let us know down below. But anyway, that's all I have. If you have any questions, let me know down below or hit me up on Instagram, as I'm more likely to respond quickly there. As always, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.